Okay, I think we are actually recording. Hello, everybody, and welcome. My name is Brianne Lazinski, and this is Soul's Compass Healing, a highly experimental project that I've undergone after leaving the field of social work in search of finding a way to support people at my own rate and pace, and in a way that I believe is most helpful to put my skills to use. I offer evolutionary astrology readings in the form of what I call a support session. So I incorporate the astrology, I can incorporate energy reading and past life stuff too, in a way that is meant to be of therapeutic support to you. I'm trialing a new thing, which is a 30-minute mini session. My website is in the description below. Please do check it out. I am also accepting donations. There is a donate button on the top right corner of my webpage. And yeah, I'm just experimenting with extending that invitation out. I know that the vast majority of us are in severe economic hardship. So if you do have a little bit to give and you want to because you find value in what I'm putting out there for free, then I would greatly appreciate and welcome any donations. All right, without further ado, I am wanting to speak about this Sagittarius full moon that we have happening on May 23rd, I think. Very quickly, the technical bits, and then I'll get into my thing. This moon is conjunct Lilith and Pallas Athena. It is opposing a Jupiter-Venus conjunction to the exact degree, the final degree of Taurus, and of course Uranus and the Sun are there. We've had Mars move and conjoin with the lunar north node. And of course Chiron is still there. So what I want to start with today is talking about the term healer. So I don't know about y'all, but if I come across somebody who self-proclaims to be a healer, it's a red flag for me. I haven't had good experiences with that in the past, and I'm curious if you have. And I understand that there's different cultural differences here, but I'm speaking to the generalized society and culture that we are in. You know, I'm based in North America, so if that gives any context. But what I find is that anyone who understands the actual process and the fine mechanics and the integration that is necessary for healing to take place would also understand that they themselves cannot heal another person. So obviously this is rooted in my social work background. Could you imagine if I'm working with a family and I'm like, I'm gonna fix everything, guys. It's gonna be great. So glad that we met. Like, no. As a social worker, I provide resources to people so that they feel supported on their journey of healing themselves and their families, right? And their relationships. And so that is what I do. I support people in their healing journey. I do not heal people, ever. So with that distinction being made, I want to link it to kind of more about the situation that we're in. So with the lunar nodes in this relationship and individuality axis, there's a lot of people, especially with the Uranus, Jupiter, Venus action going on right now, who are like, I am so sick and tired of seeing the same dynamics, the same patterns play out in all of my relationships. You know, it's like different person, same shit. Like, same shit, different day, right? And so And I have, I have those same frustrations. I'm here too, in it and being a human. And yes, it's frustrating. And I want to um, kind of, I guess I've already started off, but the question that I wanted to start off with, sorry, I'll come back to that. I'll circle back to that. The reason why this is happening, why this phenomenon of having repetitious cycles and patterns of relating, regardless of context, situation, relationships, is because relationships are rooted in the nervous system. And so neurodevelopment is something that takes place from the time when we are in utero. Primarily age 0 to 3 is when humans have their neurodevelopment blueprint embedded into them. And this is a time where the brain is doing a lot of exploration and a lot of processing and creating neural pathways based on its exploration. And if at that time there was no safety, no security, no trust, no love, or limited of those things, it impacts the neurodevelopment of the human, and it impacts their nervous system to the degree where if there was trauma in those first 3 years of life, the trauma will continue into adulthood because it's a pattern. Nature is patterns. We are a pattern. And so the good news is that neurodevelopment is an ongoing process. It takes place until the day that we die, if we want it to. So there's adaptability there to change this blueprint. We're not stuck with the hand that we were dealt in our early years. However, that is the key to changing these relationship dynamics. So there is a leader in the psychotherapy trauma healing world named Dr. What's his name? Dr. Frank Anderson, who speaks to the fact that in our early neurodevelopment days, ideally what's taking place is baby is forming a secure attachment within themselves based on that co-regulation with mom. Babies need an attachment to a caregiver in order to survive. That's a survival instinct. That's Taurus. As we grow up into adulthood, if those gaps, if there was any gaps, if there was traumas that happened, things that happened that shouldn't have, things that should have happened that didn't, then as adults, the tendency most commonly is to look for mama and papa out there, right? Somebody to co-regulate with, to help us feel secure. And the truth of the matter is, that's not how adult relationships work. Adult relationships are a mutual connection of give and take of two distinct and separate individuals. And so what would change if we became more loving and secure in ourselves? It would change so much. It does change so much. I feel like there's a lot of sayings thrown out there casually where people don't really understand the underlining truth to them. And one of those is like, you have to learn how to love yourself before you can love another person. And yeah, that's like true to like a neurological level in our bodies as being human. Like if I am secure within myself because I've gone in and with support, I'm not saying we have to do this alone. Just because we shouldn't reach out to healers doesn't mean that we shouldn't reach out for support. But if I am repairing that secure attachment within myself, it is going to significantly create a ripple effect and change all of my relationships. All of these patterns that I've been so sick of will begin to shift. You have to go to that foundational level. And this is what I'm so passionate about. This is why I am doing what I'm doing and offering my services in an entrepreneurial way, because I haven't figured out a way of how to do this any other way. And so, yeah, it goes hand in hand with what I started this video about, this question of like, what would change if we stopped looking to others to heal us? Stop giving your power away. And I'm going to shift gears here and I'm going to talk about a little bit of other dynamics that we have going on in this time with the moon conjoined Lilith and Lady Justice Pallas Athena. Like, they'll show you who's boss. Don't worry about it. And this moon is also trine Neptune. So what I want to speak to here, I'm going to start with Pallas Athena. She's retrograde in the sign of Scorpio. Why I think that Pallas Athena is correlated to justice is because she sees objectively. So I don't know if you've noticed, but there is a surface layer of bullshit throughout our culture and our society, and even in most relationships. There's always this surface layer, right? That's pretty consumed with bullshit. Pallas Athena has the objective eye to be able to see beneath that, to see the underlying roots and dynamics of what forms that distortion and that bullshit that we see on the surface. And that is justice because it is truth. Like, I don't know about y'all, but I am at the point in my life where, like, truth is a guiding North Star for me. I don't care about much else, to be honest. I want to know the truth. And so, I'm talking about this because there can be a savior complex at work when we are talking about themes such as healing. And I am I'm pretty far in my journey, I reckon, of recovering from the savior complex. And there's people who proclaim to be people who proclaim to be healers. We have to be wary if what are their underlying intentions? What are their motives? You know, that Pallas Athena looking beneath the surface. You know, what backing do they have to claim that? Um, and also, even if people aren't proclaiming as healers, we need to be wary of the savior complex in ourselves and others. You know, this instinctual gravitation towards sacrificing oneself in that need to be needed and fixing others and saving the world. And um, we, I think that we need to remember that there's no saviors here, you know, like Jesus. Jesus lived like 2,000 years ago, and even that's like a whole nother ball of wax that I'm not gonna get into around that whole savior complex. But it's like we are only human too, you know, like none of us can save one another. We can't. We can help one another, we can support one another, um, but we can't save one another. And so this can be freeing, it can be hard, but it's the truth. Another thing that I wanted to mention was June 1st, Venus and Sun are conjunct exactly at 11 degrees Gemini. They will be exactly conjunct for 4 days. They will be third quarter square Juno, who is T-squared this full moon too, and in aspect to the lunar nodes. Hello! Oh yes. I think I know that dog, but I forget its name. Anyway, so this can be a symbol of this relationship review, of relationships that have broken down, relationship dynamics that are in dysfunction. And so it can be this time of like actually taking notes to try to understand what happened, what caused the breakdown, what caused the dysfunction, so that we can do differently moving forward. And this will inform the direction that we take, you know? And so in order to do this, there is a certain level of of separating oneself from the dynamics and from the relationship. You know, it's like bench it for a quarter, bud. You know, like it's not like you're never gonna play basketball again. Just take a breather. Just take a breather. If we come back and connect with self, there is so much healing capacity on the table for us. The more that we reach out and we try to change, you know, it's like that classic picture of like the person reaching into the mirror, right, to try to change things. It's like, good luck. So, yeah. I feel like there was other things that I wanted to say. Oh yes, one other thing that I want to say is that when we are doing this, when we are doing that deeper inner work and integration, right, of reconnecting with that secure relationship within oneself, so that we can actually show up as adults and have mutual connection. As we're doing that, when things come up that we don't like about ourselves or about what happened, it's like we have this tendency in our culture to want to like write it on a piece of paper and burn it in the fire straight away, or like let go of it, right? And it's just like, okay, but But there was something there though. Like there was a function being served. It had a purpose. You know, shadow has a purpose. Our our uh, our behaviors and our patterns, they have a purpose. They were set up for a purpose of survival early in our neurodevelopment, and it may very well be the time to release it. But I'm just saying, before we go and think that we can release these things in these, sort of rituals, and it's like one and done, and boom, I'm good now. It's like, actually, in order for that to be integrated, there has to be an understanding of what function that served, so that we can actually show up for ourselves and consciously serve that function in a new way. Okay? So I'm going to wrap it up at that. Thank you so much for listening. I hope that you've enjoyed listening to the birdies and seeing this beautiful forest here today. Until next time.